All right, all right. Yeah, we live. Get some people in here. Getting ready for the open eye, y'all. Oh, yeah. Yeah, on my page. Okay. Get some stuff going here. Yeah, I'm in there. Oh, yeah. Okay. Get my watch party started. My watch party is about to begin. All right, all right. Okay, share it. Gotta invite Sherry. Sherry. Where you at, baby? Facebook cuz. Oh, yeah. You. On in, y'all. It's time to get it started. Grass is fogging up. Got 1 minute. Cuz in there. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Get everybody in. Yeah. Man. Got your homegirl in. All right. All right, folks. What the hell? Okay. Cousin there. Cousin nephew, as I call you. Call you that because me and your daddy was like brothers. Yeah. Time to get them started, y'all. My theme music on. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's my theme music. It's time. Start with it. Those of us that authorities are committing intellectual violence under the circumstances of fundamental masturbation. We do so because it changes on the pressure on people's minds and deep and difficult. Good morning, my children of the sun. Welcome to WHGE 95.3 FM, the education station. This is The Open Eye with your host, Patrice, Gibbs, your third eye optometrist. Ready to get that third eye open for you. You got 2 eyes for looking and 1 eye for seeing. That's the one I'm interested in. That's the one I'm going to help you out with, as I do every Saturday at 11 a.m. Every Saturday. And don't wait until 11 a.m. to tune in to WHGE 95.3, the education station. It's called that for a reason, because you're going to come on here and learn something. We got hard hitting programming all week long. And I know, starving like Marvin to get some of that third eye optometry. I got you. We're gonna get it started. I ain't gonna fool with you. We're gonna get it started right here. Wait a minute. Yes, I am Facebook Live. For those of you that, hey, good morning, Brother Vaughn. See you in there as usual. All right. And where's Sherry at? Yeah, sister. She's usually in there. That's all right. She'll catch me. Uh, Start right off here with some announcements here. Make Juneteenth a national holiday. All right. Juneteenth celebrates belated liberation. It is the observance of a victory delayed, a foot dragging, and desperate resistance by a system of white supremacy against the tide of human rights and the legal freedom trampled by the might of state violence. As the belated emancipation embedded in the holiday foretold generations of black codes, forced labor, racial terror, police brutality, and a century-long regime of Jim Crow, African Americans are still engaged in the struggle for liberation, for justice, and equality. Juneteenth as a national holiday is one step closer to the goal of being freer by breaking down the system of white supremacy that permeates American society. Juneteenth being federally sanctioned gives its rightful place for all Americans, making a real difference in positive racial acceptance for African Americans to finally be recognized as equal, as it says in the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. Now more than ever, we must highlight and celebrate the rich history of our African American community and the African American culture. In addition, Juneteenth is an American holiday that celebrates America legally, including its enslaved Africans as citizens of the United States of America. Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Just as Black Lives Matter, African American history matters, including why Juneteenth is rooted as a call for liberation for the African American community throughout the United States of America. Furthermore, Juneteenth as a federal holiday would have to be recognized in all public schools, social study books, the same as the 4th of July is noted in all history lessons in public schools from K to 12, from kindergarten to 12th grade. This would positively affect all Americans in accepting African Americans as full citizens equal to all others. Join the movement to fight for freedom, liberation, and justice by signing our petition on change.org for Juneteenth, June 19th, to be a national paid holiday. And that's from Brother Abdul Hamid. Join his petition to make Juneteenth a national holiday. It most certainly should be. It most certainly should be. But I'm going to tell you something, and this is where some people may get off the boat with. I don't need to wait for anybody's approval to celebrate our history, our heritage, and our culture, and recognize the struggle that we've been engaged in. Breaking news. This is from my Facebook cousin Sherry. Sherry, hey, Sherry. Breaking news. The FDA just approved a drug that reduces your chance of getting COVID-19 by 5 times. Its trade name is called Wear Mask Asshole. Side effects include mild inconvenience, possible victim complex, fear of people thinking you are a sheeple, being ostracized by your anti-vax pandemic brothers, and the power to stop your own asthmatic transmission as this country stubbornly dives right into that second wave. Check with your doctor, or really anyone, to see if Wear Mask Asshole is right for you. This is the Open Eye. I like that shit. Yeah. Let's see now. Let's see in here. Oh shoot, no. Okay, I'm gonna take your call this time, sister. I got a call, y'all. Let me make it quick. Oh, wait, hold on, hold on, sister. I'm gonna get you. Hey, what's up, Tony? I'm on there. Okay. Hey, I'm on there. What's up, Tony? I don't know. I ain't got time for you. Yeah, Sherry Bear. Sherry, you like that, huh? You like my public service announcement? I like that too. The name of that song is That Corona. That's by Nsoromma. All right. Oops. That Rona. The name of that song is That Rona by my man Nsoromma. Right here on WHGE 95.3 FM. I'm Patrice Gibbs. We're getting it in right now. That's right. We on the air and we Facebook Live. Let me tell you something. The plantations became prisons. The slave patrols became police. We are still in a time of enslavement. Don't get it mixed. Think about this. You never heard of Juneteenth or the Tulsa race massacre until recently. What else have you never heard of? What weren't you taught about in school? The Tuskegee experiment? Do you know about that? The Red Summer of 1919? A horrific time for black people. The Red Summer of 1919. There were whites all over the country waged war and riots on black communities. Did you know about Drapetomania? Does anyone out here know what Drapetomania is? Or I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Drapetomania. Drapetomania is a medical or a mental condition that slaveholders, some so-called psychologist, he wasn't nothing but a kind of a straight charlatan, he came up with this diagnosis that any slave that ran away that wanted to be free was mentally ill, and they had a condition called Drapetomania. Got a blip. If you wanted to be, I guess that's what some of these white supremacists think now. That if we want to live in liberty with our full rights, with our human rights, our civil rights in place, we must be sick. Because that's how they treat us. And the cure to them is to kill us. You must understand global white supremacy. Everything else will confuse you. The one drop rule. Did you know about that? One drop of black blood makes you black. That's what was so funny when some of these white supremacists go get their DNA test. Come to find out they got some black blood, and then they get rejected by the rest of the white supremacists. You idiots. Jeez Louise. Slave codes. Bleeding Kansas. Anti-literacy laws. That's right. It was against the law for black people to be literate. How much about race, racism, slavery, and the building of America don't you know? How dare you say you know American history if you don't know about these things? It's your damn mind. But don't worry, I got you. That's why you tune into the open eye. So you can get it straight. I got you. Believe that. The open eye is brought to you by the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets, the founders and builders of the Pearl Center, the Veterans Specific the Veterans apartment building specifically for veterans. Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Yeah, come on now. Making veterans' lives, improving veterans' lives all over Delaware.
The views and opinions expressed on the Open Eye are those of the hosts, guests, and contributors, and do not reflect the policy or position of WHGE 95.3 FM nor our sponsor, the Delaware Center for Homeless Vets. Any content provided by Open Eye's hosts, guests, or contributors are theirs and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, company, or individual.
I'm Patrice Gibbs, your third eye optometrist. That's finger scratching by Patrice Gibbs. Yeah, that's funky, ain't it? I know you love it. Wilmington, I'm talking to you right now. I got a question, Wilmington. Why is Mike Przicki, the mayor of Wilmington, running unopposed? And why has no one questioned that? I asked that question on Facebook, and I got a couple of responses. One from Brother Hameen Baba. He says, I can't name one candidate qualified and with the bank to run against him. Whose fault? Wilmingtonians. Folks sat on their asses for 4 years and did nothing to oppose him. It's just sad. What's wrong with you, Wilmington? Got another response from my homegirl, Mabruka Allison. She says, Przicki is a mastermind, a political genius. Yeah, I suppose. From the start of him changing his political affiliation from Republican to Democrat. That was some slimy genius, wasn't it? He's working every move like he's playing chess. That's what Mabruka said. Meanwhile, grooming one to finish his plans of action. Paid off the others by offering them high-paid positions, Mr. CEO. And just what happened to Theo Gregory? What happened to that scandal? Nothing more than a payoff. Here we are, Wilmington, a city majority black on city council, it reflects that, with a white conservative mayor whose primary interest is gentrification. No interest on the outlying areas of the city. Downtown is being developed, and is being developed in such a way that inner city working people will be made to feel not welcome. They already are, actually. The city felt the brunt of that during the protests and the looting. Wake up, Wilmington. And no damn business. Well, part of it is that, we're complacent. We don't pay attention. And we allow these things to happen. Just like Brother Hameen said. Whose fault is it? Wilmingtonians that sat on their asses for 4 years and did nothing. We look at our so-called leading organizations, which are dinosaurs and remnants from the civil rights movement. Of course, most of those that were in the black power movement are in jail or had their lives destroyed. There was one time when we looked to the black church for leadership, and it was viable leadership. That's where the civil rights movement grew from, was from the black church. And it was a viable, legitimate, effective movement. But what happened was people got satisfied, one. Two, and I'm going to talk about this some more later on. Two, Medgar Evers was murdered, Dr. King got killed, among many others. And a lot of the leadership of the civil rights movement, one, didn't have the charisma of Dr. King. And, you know, understand something about leadership. There is a modicum of charisma required to get people to listen and stand up and follow you and back you and support you, bringing their causes to the fore. But now I look at the black church now. You know, I was walking by the bank one day and I saw Deacon Chicken Wing on his way to the bank with a police escort. Now, when you put your money, I want to thank Dr. Umar Johnson for breaking this down for us. No matter what you think of him, the brother hits it out the park sometimes. When you put your money in the church collection plate, what do you get back? What do you get back? Hope in a future after you die. Let me tell you something. If I have to die to experience heaven, I don't need that religion. Hell no. I said hell no on purpose. Anyone that tells me that I should be content with accepting hell on earth when the white man, the Arab, the East Indian, the Asian has his heaven right here, but I got to get mine to die, and he's producing his heaven right out of my neighborhood, right out of my people's pocket. But I gotta wait, I gotta die to get mine. That's a religion I don't need, because that's a religion for servitude. We need to put the black church to task and ask them what they're doing with our Jesus money. Let me tell you what they're doing with our Jesus money. Every black church in America has their money in a white bank, including right here in Wilmington. Money in a white bank. Yep. It's the white banks that are funding the regentrification, ethnic cleansing movement. So all of us go to church. We put about $3 million a week in the coffers every Sunday. $3 million go to the white bank. And guess what they do on Monday? They take that $3 million of black people's white Jesus money, and they give loans to white land developers and businesses and entrepreneurs that come into our community, where the church is located, where it's economically depressed. They buy up all the property and force grandma out on the street homeless. Now, grandma been going to that church for 30, 40 years. And she's part of a generations of going to that church. Grandma been giving that church $50 every Sunday. And lo and behold, grandma has to face the reality that it was your Jesus money. Your Jesus money that put your ass out on the street, financing our own oppression. I'm Patrice Gibbs. This is the Open Eye. How you like that? Yeah, Marcella Livingston. Okay, your church feeds the community. Good for you. Good for you. It's not enough of them doing it. I'm gonna answer that right on the air. Got some response to that. Marcella Livingston. She said her church feeds the community. Big ups to your church. Appreciate it. And your church shelters the homeless. And I believe that's true. Mm-hmm. You know, I believe that's true. But I've seen many churches, many black churches. Reverend Chickenfoot driving a big car, and here see grandma get her ass put out on the street behind this regentrification. They don't do a damn thing to help her. And that's sad. Then I see some of these mega churches. Now we got one here. And I know that some of these churches indeed do give back to the community. But it's too far and few between, and they don't provide the leadership and the community support that they did at one time. And I'll tell you something else. I know too many black people get in trouble with their rent, the utilities and what have you, and they go to white Catholic churches for services, for assistance, for help. We got to take care of our own. I'm Patrice Gibbs. One of the things that have come up out of the recent protests that have been going on is the defunding of police departments. Police departments got this money from the federal government, and they have basically become inner city militias. These race soldiers show up armed to the teeth as though they were fighting a foreign war. And they definitely show up when they come into the black community like that. Imagine it's 2025. You're getting pulled over. A community representative approaches to let you know you have a tailgate out. Notice I didn't say a cop, I said a community representative. They don't need your license and registration. They don't need to write you a fix-it ticket. You're back on the road in less than 5 minutes. You swing by the store and grab a new light, not because you're afraid of what the city will do to you, but because you respect your community and know that having all your lights working is part of the driving privilege. Your neighbors got into a loud spat a few weeks ago, and without fear of hesitation, you called a domestic assistance number. A counselor arrived and was able to talk the couple down and suggest solutions for their disagreement. No one was hurt. The kids participated in discussion, and it's been quiet ever since. Your friend has been struggling with addiction, and you fear they might be in danger, might be a danger to themselves or others. You call a substance abuse specialist, and they talk you through ways to help your friend get treatment. They offer to send an agent out to speak with your friend directly and provide information on harm reduction centers in your area. Black people are no longer being exploited through tickets and fines to pay for police. Trust is slowly being fostered in the community. Teachers are being paid a living wage and students are being given more time, attention, and education. Books are up to date and classrooms are optimized to keep up with technology. Trump is out of office. I said, imagine it's 2025. It's been a very long time since the name of a murdered black person was used as a hashtag. Casual racism is no longer being tolerated. The KKK has been classified as a terrorist organization, which it is. The Confederate flag isn't flown and has been removed from any official state flags or insignias. Most Confederate monuments have been taken down and placed in storage or museums. You trust the investigation force to deal with crime in the same way you trust firefighters to put out fires. That's what defund the police looks like. What we've seen in the last few weeks shows how overreaching and power drunk many officers are. We ask too much of them and then call them heroes despite evidence to the contrary. We let them think that they could get away with anything, including murder. It's time for a change. It's time for a change. Can't go on like that. And speaking of monuments, I'm sure you've heard me mention J. Mariam Sims. Now, J. Mariam Sims was a gynecologist in the 1800s who purchased black women slaves and used them as guinea pigs for his untested surgical experiments. He repeatedly performed genital surgery on black women without anesthesia. Because according to him, black women don't feel pain. Despite his inhumane tests on black women, Sims was named the father of modern gynecology. And his statue stood right outside of the New York Academy of Medicine. It's been taken down actually in 2018, and it should have never been there actually. WHGE 95.3 FM, The Open Eye, and Patrice Gibbs. Joining me, my partner in consciousness, Nsoromma. Good morning, brother.
Yaga. Yo, what's up, bro? Yo, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Yo, I just keep moving. What's good? What's good? Yeah.
Like you said, if it ain't one thing, it's another.
That's right. Keep moving. Keep moving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was talking about Juneteenth being there's a petition out for Juneteenth,
right,
to be a
national holiday,
a federal holiday.
Oh, okay.
Paid federal holiday.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I want that. Anything that's giving us a little bit of our reparations back, come on, give it up.
Yeah. Well, of course, these white supremacists, they're not feeling that. They don't want that.
They don't feel nothing that's of black. So we are, that's crazy, man. That's crazy, man.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Wow, how can you hate a person without even knowing a person like that?
I know it's the indoctrination, but I see plenty of people grow up and the things that you were taught as a child, you put aside as an adult.
All right. Once you become an adult, you can make your own decisions. You don't have to stay like that.
That's right.
Right. So I understand what you're saying. That's definitely, and that's how I feel. If you're still doing that and you're over the age of 5, it's you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're promoting that.
And one of the reasons I'm bringing that up, like I said, got some of these racist white people, they're not feeling it. They had to detain this man. Where was it said? Where was it? In Atlanta. White man. For firing a gun at an Atlanta Juneteenth demonstration.
He should have been arrested on site.
Yeah. Well, pulled out an AR-15 assault rifle.
Oh yeah, he definitely was supposed to be arrested.
Yeah, and fired into a crowd of Juneteenth demonstrators. And as the attacker was leaving the area, his vehicle was struck by a protester. Fortunately, no injuries were reported, and the driver was taken into custody by the police.
Hold on, the driver was taken into custody instead of the gunman.
No, the gunman. He was taken into custody by the police. The gunman.
Okay.
He jumped back in his car or truck or whatever he is in.
Right.
You know, and what have you. Now I was talking about these race soldiers. That's what I call the cops, y'all. They race soldiers.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I can agree.
Yeah, because they're waging war on our people. They're part of that war that's being waged on us. Now, in Wilmington, North Carolina, white cops said they can't wait for a race war so they can slaughter some black people. And you know damn well they didn't say black people.
But that's the way they feel. They are prepared for war, and we're not. So they are saying, come on, let's get it on. Let's get it on. Hey, yo, we are ready. We got AKs, 9mm, hand grenades, rocket launchers, tanks. We ready for war.
Yep.
And what are we doing? Dancing and singing and twerking and eating. And, I mean, yo, it's not a joke, y'all.
No,
you have to open your eyes for real and understand that we are at war. The whole world is fighting for a cause for us, and we ain't even realizing how serious this is. This is serious, yo.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, you know, a lot of these white supremacists, Klansmen and what have you, are in the police department in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Not only that, they everywhere, and they pretending to be police officers, and now you have to understand that when you get pulled over by police, you have to make sure that it's a real police first of all.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is what we got to deal with.
That's what we got to deal with.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But like I said, many of them are on the police force, straight up. They're in the police academy and got their credentials and everything. 2 of them, Corporal Jesse Moore. Wait a minute. Okay, let me
slow down. Rewind.
Let me get this right here. This incident occurred in Wilmington, North Carolina, with members of the Wilmington Police Department, according to WWAY down in Wilmington, North Carolina. The department ran an audio audit and discovered racist language from 3 white officers. Corporal, that's an officer with rank, Jesse Moore, and officers Kevin Piner and Brian Gilmore were engaged in conversation where they had exhibited overt racism. They were straight out with it. Piner and Gilmore began talking from their respective cars about Black Lives Matter protests that occurred following the death of George Floyd. Piner said his only concern was that other police would be kneeling down with black folks. The racist conversation continued as Moore chimed in a bit later and referred to black women as Negro. The trio's conversation would eventually turn violent as they discussed the possibility of race war. Piner told Moore he believes a civil war will occur soon and that he is ready to attack black people with his assault rifle. We are just going to go out and start slaughtering them N-words. I can't wait. God, I can't wait. And that's their mindset. And some of them don't wait. Some of them don't wait. Which is why we're getting these killings. You know? And don't think that it's just, you know, the warrior age black people that they attack. Because they attack the children as well as the elderly. And check this out. An elderly couple was sworn by the police, handcuffed after being mistaken for bank robbers. How are you going to mistake 86-year-old and his 67-year-old wife for bank robbers?
I mean, some of these cops are stupid.
Yeah.
It's just that dumb. They just stupid. And it beats me up how ignorant the government is hiring these stupid police officers. And when you put in stupid people in authorized positions, you have crazy outcomes.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm just ready for war. You know what I'm saying? It's just you have to be there already, and it's a mindset.
Right.
And our mindsets is not there. You have to put your mindset to know what's being done to you.
You know, and like you said, We have to be in a war standing right now, which we should have been. Because war has been waged on. Otis Dugard, 86 years old, and his 67-year-old wife still can't believe they were mistaken for armed thieves.
But that's you know how it goes.
Yeah. Of course they can't. I mean, damn. That's right. And we can't let them get away with it. We cannot let them get away with it.
Right. That's why all this protesting is going on. That's why they shutting down the economy. You have to shut down the economy, meaning make them come in for a drastic change.
That's it.
And that's the only way.
Yeah. And we can't back down. See, that's what happened in the late 60s, early 70s. Like I said, Fred Hampton was murdered. After Dr. King, many other.
When one black revolutionist died, 10 should rise.
That's right.
And then so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that died, it should be 10 that rise.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way that it'll really go down for real.
The warrior class. See, what they did was they knew they had to do something about those. And when I say the warrior class, I mean those from 18 to 40. That's the warrior class amongst our people. And what they did was, they had to make them complacent. They had to calm them down. They had to do something about them. Now, I don't know if you remember, I'm a little older than you.
Right.
But when we had community centers in our neighborhoods.
Yeah, and boys clubs.
And boys clubs and what have you. Now, what they did was, they got a lot of those so-called rabble rousers, which I call the warrior class, and they put them in charge of them, right? And we learned all kinds of things. That's where I learned to play chess and ping pong and shoot pool and box,
right? And
baseball and basketball,
right?
That's why I started learning more about our history and what happened.
And also networking and communicating with your fellow brother, and not being on a violent tip, but on an educational learning peace journey within yourselves as a unit of group of people.
Right. And a lot of the older brothers that were running these community centers and what have you, they were in college and getting their college degrees and encouraging us to get our education.
Right, coming back to help, coming back to get their two cents for the hood.
Right.
Yeah?
And they calmed things down for a little while. And what they did was they gave these community centers grants. And they gave the brothers and sisters running these centers, nice salaries, and they were going to buy cars.
Turn it into a job.
Yeah, turn it into a job and what have you. And then they started cutting the grants. And to survive and to keep the community center open, you had to learn how to write a grant. And to keep your family fed.
Oh my God. All the necessities.
You had to become a grant chaser. So your interest became not so much, the services, because you started cutting the services because those grants was coming in and you had to keep a livable wage to run that place.
Right.
So you became a grant chaser. And in the midst of becoming a grant chaser, you lost sight of what you were doing because you were dealing with survival and bringing your children along and keeping your family surviving and what have you. That was the game they played on. And then you had already become, entrenched with debt and responsibility and what have you. So to keep this thing going, and then the next generation came on and they fell into that corruption. And now what we have are community centers where you have crap like this going on. I went to a community center. I was hired to teach writing.
Right.
Okay. So I gave the kids tests to see where they were at as far as their academic skills, their ability. Right. One child admitted he couldn't read. He's 14 years old. He admitted that's a cry for help to tell that in front of everybody.
But at least he had the nerve and the courage to let you know.
Right.
It wasn't. I mean, that's where it starts.
That's where it starts. And I don't say it to embarrass the young man.
Right.
You know, like I said, that took heart.
No,
like
I mean, but there's people out there that need to know you have to have courage to ask for help.
That's
and
right.
to want to do better and to want to be better. You have to have that courage to step out from caring who thinks what about you when you're trying to get you together.
Right. You know? So I went to the director of this facility, and I asked him, did you know, and I'm going to use a name, you know, did you know little Raheem couldn't read? He said, oh, Raheem. He said, yeah. Well, Raheem is our star forward on the basketball team, and that's his avenue of acceptance. What the hell are you
acceptance?
Yeah. This boy can't read. What's going to be his avenue of acceptance when he goes to fill out a job application that he can't read?
No, when he break his leg.
Yeah, and basketball is done. But see, because y'all champions in this league that y'all in, the grants come in. So you don't want to do anything to upset that apple cart. So it's okay that little Raheem can't read, because that's his avenue of acceptance.
Wow.
You have to be ashamed of yourself. You knew this and didn't do nothing about it.
I mean, that's the cycle of this educational system anyway. It's to you have to really educate yourself. You have to want it, because they're not really teaching what it is you need to know.
Nope.
And what they teaching you is false information. So
anyway,
I'm right. So I mean, we have to really take control of it as a people, man.
Yes.
This is a global effect. It's black people all over the world. I don't care. Anywhere you go, you can go where they say it ain't black people, and it's a black person as a pop up. I don't care.
And you know, they're not teaching our children to think. They're teaching them to remember. Okay, this is an education for servitude.
Right.
This is not an education to advance and grow and be a asset to your community. This is the Open Eye. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
I'm Nsoromma, WHGE 95.3 FM. Yeah.
The Michigan Delaware Center for Homeless Vets centers around 2 new
Key.
services.
What's up, homie? Yo, I jumped in my whip, cut the car. It's like, man, I got 2 of them. Yo, Key, what's up? Sonya, what's up, Sonya? Yo, dude, you know, Trump, we ain't messing with Trump, man. Yo, that's your boy, man. Come on. Keisha. Yo, what's up, Vinny Vin? I see you on vacation, boy. Enjoy. Tell moms I said, what's up, Win? You know what I mean? Yo, Island Girl. Yo, what's good? Yo, that's what's up. Darnell, thanks for tuning in, brother. You know what I mean? It's all good. Hey, family, that's right.
WHGE 95.3 FM, the Open Eye, with your third eye optometrist, Patrice Gibbs.
True. Nsoromma.
In the house. Now, I had mentioned earlier about how our leadership got complacent. You know who should be, and throughout the 70s, should have been the most militant, hardest revolutionary in the black community, was Andrew Young. And that was Dr. King's boy. He saw them murder Dr. King. Him and Dr. King were best friends. That was his best friend. And what did he do? And I understand, is he seen people get murdered. He didn't want to get killed. You know, but sometimes you got to warrior up and realize what you're dealing with.
But also you gotta think too. I mean, the person you would get killed, that don't mean you're not gonna get killed too. They know they just missed you anyway, so you might as well go ahead and go all out.
That's it.
Because you don't know, and if they do, you just gotta be prepared for whatever happens, because you already know that this is what they're capable of, which you already know from the gate. That's why you protesting, and that's why you're going through this. So this is not new to no one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the thing is, Andrew Young blew an opportunity because after the civil rights movement and during the really the waning times, and the pressure that the Black Power movement was under, white America was shook. Okay, white America was shook and was willing to give concessions. But we didn't make no demands. We became complacent. Listen, during this time of protest now, don't back down. Don't back down. Understand this. Revolution must have an end game. It must be thorough. It must have an end game.
And that's what I'm saying. See, everyone that has a plan and has a protest and a revolution, and that plan that you're saying has an executioner that executes the plan, a leader that puts the plan together and makes sure that these things happen. And who is that for our people? Who is that right now? No one. You understand? Well, so it's not the government. No. It's not you and I. It's not. I don't. It is you and I. But we are not the pen writer. We are not documenting it and putting it into code where we can go talk to or present it to the government. Who is the people? Who is the person that's in the CEO position of this protest in this revolution? Right. And that's my question to you. Like, do you know?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. Here's the thing. What we got to be careful of is that there are whites and corporations who are willing to give money to water this thing down and to push those that they feel they could control in positions of leadership, and to push those. For instance, there's like 3 19-year-olds and a couple of 20-year-olds, okay? I have nothing against young people. There's some very highly intelligent, dedicated young people that are working in this, in this protest and what have you, but they don't have the wherewithal, the experience, and what have you to really bring it to the fore. And what needs to be understood by these people, don't take that money. Okay? Because power concedes nothing without demand. Don't let them water it down. So what we need is someone that's going to bring to the fore and put out there our demands. Okay? So with us being part of what has become known as the new black media, it is up to us to voice these demands. And
I'm totally with that.
And I want to thank Jason Black from the Black Authority for being one of the first ones to step up.
Thank you, Jason, my brother.
Yes, indeed. And define these demands. First of all, our issues will not divert into anything else. All right? I'm going to give y'all a little bit of this week, and we're going to continue on because we got some other things to deal with.
Right.
The agenda must address black people and black people only. Now, to some people, that's like, well, wait a minute. That sounds racist. And what? First of all, let me tell you something. I am not racist, but I am racial, and that I understand that we really have no friends in the world, and I demand the right to look after my people first. I demand the right to do that. If you got a problem with that, I grant you the right to look after your people. Now, when my people get straight, we can come to the table and see what we can do together. But right now, at this point, the agenda must address black people and black people only, not minorities, not people of color. We are not here to address every ill of society. We are not going to divert to some subgroup, not women, not LGBT, not brown people, not collaborators. We are not going to divert resources and funds that anyone else meant for black people.
Exactly. For the only simple fact that they are not the ones targeted.
Right.
We are targeted.
Exactly.
And it's injusticely targeted through the systematic system of justice. So that's what make it different. You understand?
That's it.
So don't try to get involved in this if you're not going through this.
What we're going through.
Right.
You know, it makes me think of affirmative action. Now, affirmative action was supposed to fix some of the disparities that were going on in education and employment for black people. And it turned out that the biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action were white women.
Well, one of my homies just on asked me, yo, so they're not supposed to take the stimulus check? It's all a setup. That ain't that's your own money you get in, my sister.
That's right.
In a few more months, they gonna say, yo, you ain't gonna get no taxes for the simple fact you cashed that check. You don't be upset either. You know what I'm saying? Because they can say that and they can do that. Because that's what the stimulus is for. An emergency tax refund in case of an epidemic, and they call it a stimulus check, and you think it's free from the government.
No.
The government gives nothing free away.
And that brings us to our second demand. Black society's top priority is economic empowerment. If you want to know what the solution is, if you want to know what the metric is by which we measure our advancement, is measured in dollars. That is the ultimate goal. That doesn't mean picking some boot-licking lackey like Oprah Winfrey, willing to portray their own people, lining their pockets and saying, look, y'all made it.
Right. How you say one person made it and you got a billion other people? I mean, and you got $1 billion and you got starving black people all over. It take $1 million to feed almost a world, for real. $1 million can feed a lot of people.
You know, so like my man said, how you gonna do it with one people? Either we all coming up or y'all could go to hell. If our demands are not met in this, we need to get up from the table and take it back to the streets.
Never leave the streets, because that's the only way we survive anyway. So be in the streets at all times, saying the protest to live our lives, because they coming in the streets and killing us every day.
We will not be your servants, your employees, or your lackeys. We require full control of our own economic infrastructure. Institutionalized racism needs to give way to institutionalized black economic empowerment. We are going to be the leaders and masters in our own right. You may hate us because we are black, but you are not going to be able to victimize us because we are poor. The wealth of America and the Western world was built on the back of black people. Institutionalized racism was and still is used to make black people a labor, consumer, and prison class of citizens. That ends now.
And that's correct, brother.
Yes. See, what we got to do is we got to look at it like they did in World War II. You know, during World War II, America bombed the hell out of Japan. Okay.
America bombed the hell out of Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah. But what they did in Japan was they had what was called the Marshall Plan. And what the Marshall Plan did was it helped Japan get back on its feet economically, socially, and what have you. And
after they went in there destroyed.
Right. You know, that's what we're gonna come more on this next week, because this is pretty heavy. And I hope that y'all are listening to our demands here, because this is no joke. Now, if they could give out this stimulus money to these corporations,
billions and trillions and billions of dollars,
right?
Hey, and they give you 1%, $1, which is $1,000, $1,200, and they just gave $1 billion to this corporation and $100 million to this corporation, and them corporations that they gave the money to gave Trump $40 million out of that, and they supported Trump's election campaign with the money that they got from net. I mean, you got to see the pattern. You got to see the flip. You got to see it. If you ain't a true hustler, you won't see it.
That's right.
So you got to see it.
That's word. You got to see it.
Yo, Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Gibbs.
Yes, sir. And let me hit y'all with this. Like I said, trust no one. If you're looking for a friend, look in the mirror. If that face in the mirror is not friendly, you have no friends. Understand that, black people. Watch these alliances. The experience of black people in America is completely, absolutely, and totally unique. Blacks are the only non-immigrants in the country. Blacks are the only people who came here by force. Blacks are the only people that were enslaved that were already here before Columbus. No other people were packed in the holds of slave ships like cargo for months. No other people arrived on American shores to see their women raped and defiled, their men stripped of their manhood and any semblance of dignity.
Not only packed in the ships, but thrown off the ships.
Thrown off the ships, right? No other people had their heritage, culture, religion, name, and most unifying force of any people, their language, brutally beaten out of them by the slave master's lash. No other people suffered the horrors of plantation life, working from Tennessee in the morning to Tennessee at night under the overseer's lash, being forced to watch the slave master hang a young pregnant slave woman from a tree branch by her feet.
Pregnant woman.
Her swollen belly slashed open with a sword, and the unborn child brutally snatched from her womb, its head smashed on the ground. A common practice.
That's terrible, man.
Yes. No other people saw their families torn asunder.
And that was a terrible practice to what?
To instill fear.
Say that again.
To instill fear.
Yo, man.
To instill fear,
right.
Which we still suffer from.
Exactly.
We still suffer from.
We'll kill ourselves. We'll go kill black on black crime fast, but it's a Ku Klux Klan march that's coming down your block that Ray just got killed on, and no one shoot a gun in the air to make it disperse.
No.
No one. Nothing. No. See, and I think that's the warrior is so dormant towards the opposer. It's
here. Because no other people have been terrorized. Not only by the Ku Klux Klan, but by marauding gangs of whites who could be stirred to violence on a rumor, and rampage through black communities, indiscriminately commit murder and destruction with little or no fear of ever being brought to justice. No other people have been lynched, castrated, and mutilated. No other people have been systematically denied the right of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness in America like black people. By all rights of human nature, black people in America, especially those of us who know our history, should be angry, bitter, and murderously vengeful. It is a miracle of the Creator that we are not.
Right, and that's not part of our structure, because you have to endure to overcome.
Indeed. Destiny determines who enters your life, but you decide who stays. Therefore, value those who value you, and don't treat those as a priority who treat you as an option. I'm Patrice Gibbs.
I'm Nsoromma.
This is Open Eye on WHGE 95.3 FM.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Yo, what's good? Thanks for tuning in, you know what I'm saying? Every Saturday, you know what I'm saying? Made it here a little bit, but yo, my man keep it on till I get down, you know what I'm saying? Peace. Hey, yo, so yeah, about the stimulus check. If you get some money sent to you, cash it. You won't owe anyway, you know what I'm saying? That's what I say, you know what I mean?
And a monkey will take money and ain't got no pockets to put it in.
Yeah, he said a monkey will take money and ain't got no pockets to put it in.
And I want to thank Marcella Livingston for her comments when I was talking about the black church. Thank you, sister. Thank you for tuning in. And we can talk about that more deeply anytime you want to.
Jamaica, what's good? Hey, yo, Joe Spady, I see you. What's happening, homie?
All right. Peace. Open Eye.
Open Eye next Saturday, 11 to 12, 95.3 FM, and Vic Coop page.
And Patrice Gibbs page.
Yaga!
Peace.
Hey. It's like, oh, I gotta make it to